morning, everybody. This is Sean with our DIY Homestead. And this morning, you find me in the kitchen. This last weekend, we've just butchered our market chickens, and we're all done with that. And we shot a video of that. And I thought you might be interested in knowing, okay, you've got all of this chicken, now what are you going to do with it? Because if you live on a homestead, I think it's very important for you to know how to use fruits, the vegetables, and the meat that you produce on the homestead. So I have saved a chicken, and I'm going to walk you through the different things that we do with a chicken and how we pack our freezer out. We did 28 market chickens this time. I normally, people will ask, how do you know how many to do? Well, how often do you eat chicken? At our house, we're probably eating chicken in some form at least once a week. And that's 52 days or 52 weeks of the year. So we do about 50 chickens. Now, we're not set up that we can do that many at one time. So we split it in, half, 30 one time, 20 the next. This next spring, we're going to do market chickens, but we're going to add turkey to it as well. So it'll be a learning experience for us with turkeys. But I'm getting off the subject. I wanted to have one whole chicken, and I show you what we do with them, how we cut them, how we prepare them for the freezer, the different things that we can make with it, and just so you know that, okay, there's a reason for doing that, for raising chicken, and I'm hoping it's interesting to you. So just a minute, and I'll turn my camera around so you can see this bird. Okay, everybody. So this is a whole chicken, except for it is missing two things. Hold on, let me show you. Here's a side view. Can you guess what it's missing? It's missing its wings. Ron has gone through and clipped all the wings off of our chicken, and they are already in freezer bags. He likes to put about 8 wings per bag, and that gives us a nice little weekend dinner. And so all the chicken are missing wings. When we give chicken to a neighbor or something, they always laugh because they're like, we've never seen a wingless chicken before, but this is our wingless chicken. However, so we've got our first meal off of him, and that is wings, right? So now I'm going to show you the next thing I do, and that is the breast. So this is the tip of the breastbone right here. And you can kind of see in the skin right down here is the middle of the chicken. And that is where I will cut. Now there's a bone all the way down, and I will cut on the side of the bone, and that will give me 2 breasts. Another thing I will do is I will skin him, just because I don't like to have the skin on most of them. I did put a few away with the skin, but I will skin this guy. I'm going to try to set up the camera so you can see how I do that. Okay, so I've never done this before, but I am going to show you how we go ahead and do this. I find the tip of the breastbone, and I just make one slice all the way down. Now this hasn't sliced through. I'm just making my main mark right now. I'm trying to get my skin out of my way. And I'm just going by feel at the moment. I'm going to pull the skin away. Whoops. Hopefully the camera's going to cooperate. And I'm just using my finger to move the membrane of the back of the skin off of the meat. So you can see this one chicken breast. Nice looking breast, huh? Our birds are weighing out between 5 and 6 pounds. Now the next thing I'm doing here is I am cutting right along the drumstick. Again, moving the skin out of my way. And now I'm going to go back here. And again, I'm feeling my way. There's these ribs that I'm cutting around. And there we are, our first, I'm not sure what you can see, our first chicken breast. So I'll put him down and I'll go ahead and do the next one. Okay, so the 2 chicken breasts are off. I'll show those to you as soon as we get done with this next step. And that next step is I'm going to take the leg and the thigh off of the body. Now, it might get a little comical for you because I also like to skin this, and it's difficult for me to get the skin off, so I make noises, and I won't try to make any too weird noises. I'll use my knife more often now, just try to peel the skin off. I just like to have this skinless because what I use the thigh and the leg for is I will cut these up in small, about inch size pieces of meat, and I will can this meat. This is what will go in jars, so they won't be in the freezer. And I just like to have more than one thing. You know, I like to can some, freeze some, things like that. So now I know I'll need to skin this up to about the middle of the bird so I can get the thigh here off without any skin on it. And we will go over, I will show you exactly what I do with all of this fat here that I'm pulling off. I don't get rid of it. I use it, but not with this particular piece of chicken. Oh my goodness. I'm going to just cut it off. So this is the whole piece here, and I'm just going to flip them over and press down, and that kind of lays it flatter for me, which is easier to cut it off. Now remember, we did some cutting when we took the breast off. I cut it right here, and with this one now I am cutting the whole piece off of the carcass itself, because we do things with the carcass too, because there's meat on here, and we're not going to waste any part of this bird. We worked too hard to raise them, and the meat's too good to give it up to. I've missed a little piece here. I'm wondering, are you seeing this? Yes, okay. So this is the thigh and the leg. And I'm just gonna hop over and do the next one. I won't make you watch me do that. Okay guys, so do you remember what the chicken looked like about 4 minutes ago? It was a nice big chicken. All he was missing was his wings. Well, this is now a chicken carcass. And remember the skin I was talking about? So what I do is I take this skin and poke it down in the carcass. And as I start butchering the legs and the thighs, I'll have bones to stick in carcasses. But for right now, this is all I have to put in this carcass is the fat, because the fat is going to be delicious as well. And this is called my stew meat. And I'm going to wrap him up. And when I want to make chicken broth, or a lot of times it goes for the dogs, you know, because there's pieces of meat on here that once it's cooked will come off of the bone. So it's too valuable to throw away. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum seal the breast and the carcass, and we're going to go put it in the freezer. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the chicken breast and the stew meat in a bag. Again, we vacuum seal our chicken. I know other people use the bags and use the water and the straw and all of that. And we never have done that. I've just always had the vacuum sealer, and it works great for whole chickens down to parts. So I just wanted to show you how we store them. And as soon as I'm done running the vacuum sealer with these, I'll take you back to the back freezer and show you how much 30 chickens can fill up a freezer. So hold on. Okay guys, so here's the freezer. The top shelf is all of the stew meat that we have from the chickens. Every one of them has, you know, a carcass except for the 5 that we kept whole. So that is going to be used for soups, for bone broth, chicken broth, dog food, you know. So there's lots of uses for that carcass that you're like, yeah, they're not a lot of meat here, but you know, you can see that with all of this, there is a lot of meat there, and it's not to be wasted. The next shelf down here is the breast, you know, what we just did with all the breast. And then here is the whole chickens that we kept. You know, we figured once a month until we get the spring chickens. So we just kept 5 of them out. And then down here is the wings. So this is 28 chickens. This is how full our freezer is from them. And we are very thankful. So the next thing, so that is what our freezer looks like right now. The next thing we will be working on is the chicken and the thigh, the chicken leg, sorry, and the thigh, and I'll be cutting those up. I'll be deboning those and cutting them up in pieces, and that is what we will can for canned chicken. I love having that on hand, you know. I don't know what to make. How about some chicken and rice with my canned chicken? I love to make chicken salad with it. There's just so many things. I love going into the pantry and grabbing a can of chicken that's ready to go. And so that will be the next thing we work on. And I'll bring you along with that, because I really want you to see how easy it is to use the chicken that you've spent so much time raising, feeding, watering, taking care of them, and then butchering them. And here's the next step. This is the reason why we do what we do. I also will have a section in here on doing the innards, the gizzard, the heart, and the liver. There we go. Sorry, roadblock here. And I do that totally for our dogs, because the dogs love that. It's a way for me to make sure that they are getting some healthy protein inside of them, and it's cheaper than buying the expensive stuff that I don't think is as good. So we will be starting on the chicken leg and the thigh, getting that cut up, and I'll bring you along for that as well. Okay, so here is the thigh and the leg of the chicken. And remember, I told you that we're basically going to be deboning this, and I can the thighs and the legs of the chicken. So I'll show you how I do it. Now it's not pretty, and I don't have a degree in deboning chicken, but I cut the front part of the leg. And what I'm basically trying to do is just be able to draw it down to the side. Now there's a lot of veins and stuff in here that I don't like, and I don't want it to be part of the meat that I cut. So it's not pretty, and I don't know if I'm doing this a correct way or not. I'm basically getting chicken meat off of a bone the best way I know how to do it. And I just wanted to show you, the big thing I want to impart is just do it. There's no wrong or right way, and if there is, nobody is normally in your kitchen. I don't worry too much about what anybody's going to think about how this is cut up, because it gets cut up into smaller pieces. So I'm basically done getting most of the meat off of the leg. Now remember, this goes into a bag, and I'll throw it in the crock pot for chicken broth, chicken soup. All of this meat on the leg that's still on here is not going to go to waste. But I just want to get the largest chunks off of here that I can, so I can this up and put it away for later in the winter time. I didn't do as much of the canned chicken last year as I'm going to do this year, and I ran out. So I'm like, I am going to make more of this and can it up. And I will take you through the process of when I do can it. It'll be this weekend. My main goal is to get all of this meat cut up and ready to go for when we do can. Have to be careful of the knife. I nicked myself twice earlier trying to get the meat off of these bones, so you just have to be careful with the knife. Okay, so I kind of felt around there. There's some here, but I don't like these fat. I don't like that. I don't want that to be part of it. So I am done with this thigh and bone. So any skin or anything that I've cut off, I am going to stick it with the bones. I have a bag, and I put it in the bag, and I will fill this bag with the bones to be put in the freezer. So the next step I'm going to do is I am going to kind of trim off the pieces I don't want. And just cut it up into, I talk about 1-inch pieces. It's really loose 1-inch pieces. But there it is. And I'm just going to do that to the rest of this meat. And I'll put this in a baggie. I have one in the fridge right now. And these will stay in the fridge until this weekend, when I will raw pack my jars and can it that way. You might want to try it before you make a lot of it. Some people don't like the texture. It doesn't really bother me, but I understand it because I'm not a huge fan of like canned hamburger because of the texture. So I understand the texture thing. Thankfully, the chicken doesn't bother me. And I'm just working on getting some of this off the chicken here. So this is about all it will, all it takes with canning chicken. Your chicken. Believe me, it tastes twice as
good when it came off your little pasture, and you know how it was raised. You know how to butcher, or how to butcher it. So it doesn't feel pain beforehand. It's kind of funny. Ron went out yesterday, and all of the chicks are gone. So, I mean, we still have our laying hens and everything, but I think he kind of felt at a loss on chores because he didn't have 30 chicks to take care of. I think it was he appreciates that now that it's so dark. It's almost, he's got to do chores as soon as he gets home because of how dark it gets so early in the evening now. And I am going to share some numbers here with you. We figured out how much it costs to feed the chicks, and I'm going to get those numbers out and share that with you too here in just a bit. But there it is. I mean, I've got a lot more to do, but this is what cutting up the leg and the thigh looks like. This is how much chicken one leg and thigh got me, and I have 28 chickens, so I will have plenty of legs and thighs to cut up. So I will see you guys at the end of this when we get ready to can it.
Okay, good morning, everybody. We are on to the canning process of chicken. These are the legs and the thighs that I've been cutting up and storing them until this weekend when it's all done. And so I thought I would show you exactly how I do it. Now there's I raw pack, and that means I don't cook the chicken at all. I don't put any juice in it because what it does is that it cooks in its own juices. So it seems like the easiest way to do it. It works out great for us. Let me show you what it looks like here. Okay, so this is 7 pints of the chicken cut up in about 1-inch pieces, and 7 because that's how many my canner will hold, and so we worked from that. So there's the meat. I've already put a half teaspoon of salt in it for a little seasoning. This is something very controversial. This is how I do it. This does not mean it's right for you, but it's how I've always done it. Is I get water, I bring the water up to a boil, and I pop the lids in until the jars are filled. Then I will pull these out and put them on top of the jars and seal them down. And the Fall Cookbook recommends that I cook these for an hour and 5 minutes, so 65 minutes. And so that's the way we'll do it. I am not an adventurous canner. I'm too worried about making us sick. I want to do what's safe. I don't want to waste the meat that we've processed. I don't want to make us sick. So I'm not adventurous at all. It's got to be an approved recipe for me. So that is where we are in the process. So what you're seeing now is a sweet and sour chicken that I put into quart jars. And this is a super easy recipe. It's a layer of chicken, a layer of pineapple, a layer of peppers, and then another layer of chicken, pineapple, peppers. You just layer it up, and then you pour the sweet and sour sauce over it. I made a sweet and sour sauce earlier this summer, and that is what I used. But this is a recipe that's easily found online. Just look under sweet and sour chicken, canned sweet and sour chicken, and you'll find a couple of different recipes for it. Now that's what it looks like before it goes into the canner for 90 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it comes out of the canner.
So it smells really good in here. And we're excited to try it. We haven't tried this, so I'm excited for that. Now, I also canned just some plain chicken in its own broth. I love using these for recipes when I'm like, I don't know what to make. And I can pull this out and make a quick chicken and rice casserole or chicken salad or things like that. So let's see, we ended up with 2, 4, 6, 7 pints of cooked chicken, and it'll be 14 quarts of sweet and sour. So that's what all those leg and thigh pieces cut up equaled.
Okay, guys. Well, we are nearing the end of what I do with our chickens in the kitchen. We have started out with a whole bird. Ron had already clipped its wings off, but I think you guys can imagine that and know that we're putting wings away. And then we started out with debreasting it, the chicken body. We got two beautiful, nice breasts off of each chicken, and we um, vacuum seal those in a vacuum seal, two breasts since it's Ron and I. And then we cut off the legs and the thighs, and I cut them into about 1 inch pieces. And we had the carcass, and we vacuum sealed the carcass together. We put the bones and the skin in a bag, and that's all used for chicken stock, just cooking for chicken soup, or, there's lots of good broth on there and lots of meat on there still as well. So we didn't want to get rid of any of that. So now we are at the least appealing of it for me, and that is the innards. And I don't eat chicken liver, chicken hearts, or gizzards, but I have three little dogs that do. I make their dog food fresh weekly or bi-weekly, and I am saving all of that for them. So let me show you what we have here. So I'm sorry,
It's not a very appealing picture, but there is the livers on the right and hearts on the left. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just really rinse this off nice. And then I'm going to pop this into a boiling water, and I boil it. I'll probably season it with some garlic salt, and put a little flavor in it for them. And then I will chop this all up into small bite-sized pieces. Remember, I have Chihuahuas. Let me see if I can get a picture of them there for you. Two of them are enjoying the sun right now. The one on the right's Chi-Chi. The one on the left is Lola. And I don't know where Honey Bear is right now, but right now these two are enjoying the sun. So that is why I am taking care of these innards, is because they love them. So we are back here. And then I have a bowl full of gizzards. And it's kind of time consuming, but it's not hard. What I'll do is I'll split them in half and pull out the inside. I'll show you that as we work through them. But just to let you know what we're going to do, we're going to rinse this off and boil them up and cut them up in small bite-sized pieces. So that's what we're going to do now.
Okay.
So I have the livers and the hearts over on the stove, gently boiling. I threw in a couple of cloves with them, and now I'm going to work on these gizzards. The very first thing I do is, you can see the excess fat here, and I'll pull off what I can. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but just pull off what I can. Put it in the chicken bucket, because all of this is going to go out to the chickens. And like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Now Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm scraping the stuff off my fingers. Okay, so I have the gizzard sitting on its side. And I'm going to take my knife and slice all the way down here. And it can be a little trying. My knife needs to be sharpened after everything we put it through. Run it one more time. And I'm going to open it up. If you've never seen the inside, here's your chance. Now our chickens were off feed for 24 hours. And there's a big ball of grass in here. So I'm just going to dump the grass out. And then it's still dirty, but there is it reminds me of a purse. There's this little white lining, and it's really easy to pull off of the inside of the gizzard. And you want to pull this off because this gets rid of anything that was in the gizzard. So there you go. You can see how clean it looks inside now. And I've got a bucket of clean gizzards. Well, what I'll do is I'll take them over and rinse them off, of course, because, you know, just from handling it and stuff, there's grass on them and they just need to be cleaned off. And then I've got my bowl of gizzards that need to be cleaned. Now, after I get them all cleaned, what I'll do is take them over, clean them off, and by that time, the livers and the hearts will be done. And when the liver and hearts are done, I'll take this over and I will boil this, the gizzards up. Once everything's boiled, that's when I'll start cutting and cut them in. I cut them in really small pieces because I have chihuahuas. If you have bigger dogs, you don't need to worry about cutting them so small. But it is a great additive to their food if you don't make their food. Just throw it in their dry food or whatever. This is the protein that my dogs get. Now, we run out before we're ready for the next batch of market chickens, but I buy livers at the store or those carcasses. I might boil up a couple and pull off the chicken from those and give it to the dogs. So that's why we save everything. You can reuse it in different ways. So I'm going to get busy. I'm going to get these finished cut up and then boil them. And I'll come back when it's all ready to be everything cut up. I'll mix everything together and then I will seal it and store it away in the freezer. Okay, so here is the heart, the liver, and the gizzard all cut up. I cut all day. I have to put mine in really small pieces because I've got chihuahuas and most of them are missing their teeth. So I cut up everything very fine. So this is what it looks like all mixed together. And then what I do is I bring it over to my sealer here and put it in a bag and seal it up. And then these will be all put in the freezer and ready for when I make dog food. By the way, if you're interested in making dog food, I have a video for that. And I will link it below so you can find it. So hope this was helpful for you and maybe for the health of your dog.
Hey everybody, this is Ron. Sean mentioned earlier in the video about numbers. You know, what it costs us to raise these birds and process them and everything. So I do have those numbers for you. For the birds alone, it was $114.60, which breaks down to about $3.82 a piece because we had 30 of them. The feed, the bedding, the electrolytes, everything was $395.40 for a total of $510, which breaks down to $17 per bird because we had 30 of them. The average weight was, our lowest one was almost just over 5 pounds, I guess. And the heaviest one was almost 7 pounds. So we averaged everything out about 6¼ pounds, and broke that down from the 17 for a total cost per pound was $2.72 for a fresh as fresh can be chicken with nothing injected into it, no outside processing. We know how the birds were treated and how they were fed and cared for, as stress-free as possible. So, and we absolutely love the chicken. It's so juicy and it just got a different taste to them. So yeah, there's the numbers, $2.72 a pound. Hope you enjoyed this video. Come back and see us again. We've got plenty more to come.